Sean, let's start with the Baltimore Ravens. Their win total is set at 11.5 for 2026. It feels awfully high. Before we get into their schedule, we got to decide, is this team better, worse, or are they the same after free agency and after the NFL draft? Some notable additions that they brought in. They drafted Vega Ioane, the interior offensive lineman out of Penn State. It was regarded as a great pick, and I agree with that. They also selected Zion Young, the pass rusher from Missouri, Elijah Sarratt, Jacoby Lane at wide receiver, tight end Matthew Hibner, cornerback Chandler Rivers. In free agency, they signed John Simpson, Calais Campbell, and Trey Hendrickson. They did lose Tyler Linderbaum, Isaiah Likely, Tremont Jones, Charlie Kohler, Loie Gilman, and also punter Jordan Stout. We know the core of players that are coming back. This is a team that no matter who is around him, as long as the supporting cast is good enough, Lamar Jackson is going to be able to do damage. So with all that, the table being set, do you think they got better, worse, or stayed the same?
They're worse. The Baltimore Ravens are worse going into this year. This is a team that benefits with speed and youth, and they did not get better, especially with their top two playmakers being Lamar Jackson, a year older, a year slower. Derrick Henry, a year older, a year slower. And I love Derrick Henry. I really do, with all my heart. And people have been trying to call his drop-off for years, and I found that totally offensive and disrespectful to how good of a running back he's been. But if we're doing better or worse, he's not going to be better a year older in the NFL. I'm sorry. Find me a running back that did get better a year after the NFL, especially at his size and physicality level. Also, Lamar, last year, we saw him develop into a guy who didn't escape every sack. He got sacked a lot from behind.
Well, if anything developed, it's a regression.
Yes. So if Lamar's getting a little bit slower, that means that his bag is not getting bigger or deeper. It's actually getting way more shallow, and he's going to have to rely on his arm way more. They did not get better naturally from that. Additionally, you get way worse going from Linderbaum to Danny Pinter being their center.
No, Corey Bullock is projected on our lads. I don't know if Danny Pinter. I don't know if there's a direct.
I got Danny Pinter from Mike Clay.
Okay.
That is a huge drop off.
Well, to this point though, is that you had Tyler Linderbaum, who was a Pro Bowl caliber center, because of the stupid operation with the 5th-year option. You couldn't work out a new deal with him. So the minute that you couldn't give him the 5th-year option, and it was going to be hard to try and work out a deal with him because you weren't going to franchise tag him for the same exact reason you couldn't give him the 5th-year option, because it would have been exorbitant for a center. So as long as somebody threw a ridiculous number on the table, he wasn't coming back. Yep. And that's what happened with the Raiders, that they were far more desperate for his services than you were. And I think it's to this point at center specifically. I didn't mean to derail what you were talking about. I don't think that there's very much clarity on who's the best available player to start at center for you. Maybe it is Pinter to what you got. I'm going off of what it says in our lads. I don't think either option is very good. Yeah, no, it could be either. It's still a downgrade. Also, uniforms got worse for the Ravens. They're in worse looking uniforms. You don't like those?
No, I don't like them. I do not like them. They look less menacing and they look less aggressive. The Baltimore Ravens had awesome, scary jerseys. When they ran out of the tunnel, you thought you were going to get hit. Now they're in these soft ass uniforms. They get worse in that regard. Also, I think that the Isaiah Likely factor on their offense was kind of huge last year. Looking back at some of the Baltimore Ravens games, he was getting targeted. They were drawing up plays for him, and his skill set as a tight end that wasn't just Mark Andrews, also getting slower. Also, what happened to his hands? Isaiah Likely was a very reliable option for them when they needed size on the inside or the outside. They better hope Elijah Sarratt can like be that guy where he could go in and try to find a favorable matchup in the slot or something. This is a really weird operation that they're running. I mean, do we think Matt Hibner is going to be the solution? Okay, so if Hibner taking the top off,
I do actually. Hibner is quite athletic. He's quite explosive. He's one of the best testing tight ends at the NFL Combine. If there is, likely wasn't an early draft pick, and they turned him into a really dynamic weapon as their tight end too. So there's a world that Hibner does turn into that, but for him to become that in year one, you're hoping for a rapid ascension from a young player that he just steps in and has a big impact. I think Sarratt provided depth for you out wide. I think that he's a really good X receiver. That Rashad Bateman's been good. I was very high on Sarratt, and I think that Sarratt could potentially steal opportunities from him. If in 2 years we're talking about how Sarratt made it easy to part ways with Rashad Bateman, it wouldn't surprise me, but still a rookie receiver who you didn't draft in the first round, expecting him to be more than a 300-400 yard receiver is high expectations. Here's my biggest bit is that there were a lot of losses with not only key players like Linderbaum, but also underrated players with Alohi Gilman losing. You mentioned Isaiah Likely. I think that Charlie Kohler was also a very underrated loss for you. You lost a lot of depth at a position that really defined what your team was. I think that their offensive line is going to be a lot steadier overall across the board when they brought in Vega Ioane and when they signed John Simpson. But my biggest just overall question mark, I would say that they stayed the same. My biggest overall question mark is what the heck is this defense going to look like? We know that they've got the talent. We know that when they're at full strength with Nnamdi Madubuike, with Roquan Smith, Nate Wiggins was starting to show some signs of being really talented. Kyle Hamilton's is the best safety in the NFL. He's an elite player.
He's very good. Overcame a lot. He did good.
Marlon Humphrey is a frustrating individual, to say the least, and I think a lot of Ravens fans would agree with that. But I have this feeling, because there's a lot of parallels, easy parallels that can be drawn between Jesse Minter and Mike McDonald. I have this feeling that it is going to be a 2-year process before the defense really starts humming. Because as much as there was a lot of talent amongst the group, you're still going to need to find the right guys to play within the system. And I know that that's kind of a blanket, easy boilerplate answer where you just kind of throw it out there like, well, you need the right guys to play with. It's a BS thing to say. But McDonald, as great of a coach as he was, that immediately year 2, they won a Super Bowl. There were still a lot of headaches and frustrations for a young up-and-coming coach that was trying to work through building his team's culture. I think that the same thing is going to apply here. Now, the big bit that's the benefit for the Ravens compared to the Seahawks is that you already have your settled sitting quarterback. We know who Lamar Jackson is. I think that you're going to be able to protect him better than a year ago. So the concerns of him not being as crazy, slippery, and explosive, and him needing to learn, and he's done a good job of learning to win from the pocket.
Agreed.
He's not going to be able to get away from everything. I think for the other part for me, the other question that I bring up aside from defensively, you brought up with Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry ends up being a shell of himself, running back drop-offs are like a cliff. That's the problem with this. As much as it sounds like you're being a hater with Derrick Henry, he has been an unreal player that has defied what running backs are supposed to be able to do, especially with his physical running style. But is that immediate just collapse, drop off? Is that going to happen this year? Is that going to happen 2 years from now? Is he going to be a guy that somehow plays until 40, like something ridiculous like that? It's going to be that Pandora's box where you're just waiting for whatever crazy outcome comes out of it.
Right. He had 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. I mean, no disrespect to him. And I wouldn't even categorize it as like a fall off if he goes to 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns.
No, I wouldn't say that is.
But that 400 yards and extra 6 touchdowns, I think determines their win total. Like that's where I'm at with him. He's so important to the offense. Him being good and catching fire and having these monster games is so massive for them. They have to be able to find a way to keep doing it. You get your offensive lineman, or your offensive line is at best a little bit worse. I think I have very high expectations for Ioane.
Yeah,
but guard to center, different. You know, I'd rather have a weak guard spot than a weak center spot.
It's a fair
point for a lot of things in the operation of the offense. Like there's enough things my gut is telling me that is saying don't jump all in on it. I can't be all in on the Ravens this year. I won't be. I think that they're going to be fine, and they benefit a lot from the AFC North being really weird and really bad at quarterback for 2 of their teams, and 2 inept off, 2 possibly totally inept offenses.
Well, so as much as I agree with that, I do think that the Ravens should fall into the bucket of team that has a lot still to prove. As much as we keep talking about the AFC North having, there's no defined best team right now. And I think that we're not going to know, and this is going to sound kind of like a cop-out, we're not going to know who the legit best team in this division is until like week 10.
They make it, they slow play it. They make it really difficult.
But it's even shakier than it's been in the past because there has been aggressiveness by two of the teams. I don't know what the hell the Steelers were doing this offseason, and the Browns and the Browns. The Ravens and the Bengals aggressively went after addressing their biggest problems this offseason. And it's very boomer bust. I think it's very, very boomer bust for the outcomes for both of these teams. I want to dig into their schedule and read off their schedule. We don't have their schedule yet because we're taping this the Tuesday of the schedule release. We'll eventually have those in these previews. But these are their opponents. Their over-under is set at 11.5, over at 105, under at minus 135. So the books are telling you that they kind of think that this is going to go under 11.5 wins. Home opponents include the Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Jaguars, Titans, Saints, Bucks, Chargers. Away is Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Texans, Colts, Falcons, Panthers, Bills, Cowboys. The one thing that's really ass about this schedule is, what's the asterisk? Those are neutral site games?
No, those are floater games. They're non-division.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started writing stuff. I
gotcha.
You shouldn't do that. I'm like,
Joe Burgundy.
Seriously.
Stay on track.
Like putting a squirrel on the TV. What do you expect me to do? Hey, what is that? What's going on over there? Putting stuff down in the notes while I'm reading off of it. What is wrong with you?
It's literally,
you on a show with me for how long?
The most minute adjustment that I could.
8 years?
Do I need to put something?
8 years we've been doing shows together.
Oh, has it been 8?
We were 20 when we started.
Oh my god.
No, maybe younger than that. No. 20 when we started. Okay, here. What I was gonna say is, it's a really bad draw that all of your away opponents, most of your away, like tough matchups, ended up coming on the road. So playing the Texans on the road, winning on the road and at home is not as deep of an issue as it is in college football compared to the NFL, but it still does weigh into things. But getting the Texans on the road, getting the Panthers on the road, getting the Bills on the road, getting the Cowboys on the road, those are tough games that to me are toss-ups. Having the easy gimmies, which are the games that you should ideally win.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in the NFL, but the games that you shouldn't really have much problem with, Jaguars, Titans, Saints, and you really should beat the Bucks. Having those games at home, it's almost a bit of a waste there.
Right. Yeah. Good luck, Baltimore. It gets medium loud in Atlanta. You guys are going to be moderately unsettled.
Wang Chung 405. Seattle, we're doing much. We're going in alphabetical order, by the way. If for anyone who hasn't tracked it, we've done that in the first four. We're going in alphabetical order. If we're trying to pick games here, I think that you're probably going to split with the Steelers, no matter what year it is.
Yeah,
they're going to split with the Steelers. You're probably going to split with the Bengals, and you can beat the Browns twice. So that gets us 4 wins.
Yeah,
it gets us 4 wins. God, I'm awful at math. If we sweep those easy games at home, it gets us to 7.
Yeah.
If you, or I got to include the Bucks game, that's 4. That's 8 games. What do we think that they can do against the Chargers?
Oh, I would.
We got to find 3 games in here somewhere.
Okay, the 3 games that they pick up.
4 games in here. Sorry.
4 games they pick up. They pick up the Colts away. That's a win for Baltimore. They beat the snot out of Atlanta and likely end their season. That's another win.
So we need 2 more.
They beat Dallas, I think.
But when we're trying to when we're trying to determine a win total, it should be games that we feel matter of fact, unless they completely bungle it and have a terrible week of preparation, they should probably win it.
I think it's a matter of fact against the Cowboys.
Really?
I think that they will just still run all over them.
That's a crazy comment from Brandon Holman. I can't read that one. Is that what they call?
That is not.
Is that what they call the Ravens?
That is one I will take to the group chat immediately. All of these dumb Ravens fans that I know. And I've been very nice about the Ravens. You know, I don't have like my big Ravens beef on this show, but they are my root against team this season because their fans are dumb and nasty to me. So
why
that's what.
Why do you say
they started it with me this year?
So we do these previews because we're trying to target fan bases to watch it. One thing that I learned doing a lot of team previews on Ruffino and Joe is I don't directly call fan bases. What did you say?
They are dumb and nasty to me.
Okay,
that's what they. And I bet if they get to this point in the video, they will start being nasty to me. That is the situation.
Sean,
with
you mean
Sean, the guy with the glasses, the guy with the buddy on the left with the green shirt. Go ahead, get him.
I think that with some of these contingencies, for not knowing how the Chargers game, the Bills game, the Cowboys game, the Panthers game are going to go, and also assuming that you split with the
the Jaguars.
So narrow. It's just so freaking narrow. 12 wins feels like such
who bets on 12 wins if they're not a juggernaut? It's not narrow to me.
I mean, that's the best way
I
to
go
put it.
under.
This isn't like a gimme wins schedule.
Under. I go under. The Ravens, I understand they have the AFC South and the NFC South. You can run all over the NFC South. There's two skell teams in the AFC South. The Jaguars, I think, are still very beatable there. But the Ravens are not of the caliber of team right now for me to say that's 12 wins. Like that's an auto 12 wins. That a 12-win bet is reserved for when Philly was super dominant, when Mahomes was rolling. I would have put a 12-win season over in the Patriots' heyday. Not for the 2026 Ravens. That's where I punch out. That's where I say,
right,
I'll take the under and let the math fall. All right. They could come out 7. I'm just not doing it.
Them getting the AFC South draw is the one thing that's making me think, and the NFC South draw, they got arguably the two weakest divisions in the NFL.
Yeah,
and I don't.
But their floaters are 3 possible losses: Chargers, Bills, Cowboys. Those are tough games for them. Those are tough games.
But we're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean towards under as well, because I think even for some of these games that do feel like gimmies, there are chances for some of the, just like theoretically, the Colts could end up still being really good defensively and stealing that game from you. The Falcons, as bad as we kind of project that they might be this upcoming year, and they're going to have a lot of headaches, they still have potential to shock a Ravens team.
They have playmakers. If they want to do it, if they want to play the game that they played against the Rams on Monday Night Football, they could do that on any team. But it depends on if they're eliminated from playoff contention by then or not.
And the same thing, I think, applies for the Jaguars, for the Saints, and maybe even the Titans, and as well as the Bucs. These aren't just like straight up easy gimme games.